lining up the next one, Ryan, this is a good one. As a founder, how should you spend your time?
Carefully, very, very carefully.
What does that mean?
It means that you should think about how you're spending your time on a constant basis. It's so easy because there are so many things that look like they need to get done that if we just run around doing them, we can feel really good about being busy. I'm very productive as a founder right now. It's really hard not to be productive as a founder because there's so many things to produce. They are not all created equally. All right. And so I think the number one most important use of your time as a founder would probably be to spend the time doing the calculus around what's the most important thing that I need to do right now. All right. And sadly, and I've been there, right? Like I've been there where you just don't want to put in the time to do that. You think like, well, I could either sit around and think about what to do, or I could just go do this thing that I know is going to need to get done at some point. That's valid. And if you were operating inside a mid to large size revenue company, you had a big team, there's other people doing other stuff, that would be fine. The order of events is a lot less important, but a startup isn't just a collection of stuff that needs to get done. It's a collection of stuff that needs to get done in a carefully choreographed order, because if you don't get them in the right order, you might be doing stuff that will be important 6 months from now, but if you don't get the shit done that's important for this week and next week, you might not be here 6 months for that to matter, right? So for me, it's really about thinking about, do we need to focus on product development? Do we need to focus on customer discovery? Do we need to focus on market validation? Are we trying to contribute to growth right now, right? What is the critical thing? This is why I love stuff like OKRs, because it forces you to really think about that stuff and gives you a North Star to be able to point to and go, this is the most important thing that we need to have happen right now. We have to close a $10,000 operational gap. Okay, cool. Of the things that I could spend my time on, which one of those is most likely to have the most impact on closing that gap? That's where I go spend my time.
Let's dig a little further into that, because
Sure.
you've touched on this multiple times. You brought up different things. I get it. Prioritization. And
Yep.
a lot of people say you should initially spend your time focusing to figure out what you should spend your time on. We're going to park that. But then you brought up different things like revenue generating opportunities. And I'm just going to read to you. I'm going to cite to you some of the common responses, because we're hanging out in Reddit and I'm watching these conversations occur. And some people say, so I'm going to give it to you and I want you to respond. Some people say, find out what is blocking you from revenue. If it's product development, customer service, go work on that.
Yep.
Other people just flat out say it's revenue or die, right? Just that's all you should care about. That's all you should be thinking about, which
Unless it's not. It's
Okay.
not. Like, that's the thing. Like if you are in a zero burn rate business, let's say you've got a side hustle going right now, and you're not burning more cash than let's say you still got your main job. You still got a job. You're running this on the side. You're spending a little bit of money. Like you bought some AI tools. You got a hosting space. You got whatever. It may not be revenue or die. That thing could literally just keep going forever, or you could hit pause. If it has no customers, if it has no staff, it doesn't. You can literally turn it off and nothing happens to it. You can turn it right back on later. So yeah, but it depends, right? So I think that's the answer to this is always going to be this is why the founder has to think about it.
Yeah.
If there was just a checklist that I could provide somebody like just go do this, then this, then this, then this, it depends on where you're at. This is why you have to put in the time first to impact those activities. But I can give you some kind of rank order, like in terms of the way I think about how to structure my time. If you think that'll be helpful, you want to keep going through the Reddit stuff, fire away. I'm happy to react.
No,
to it.
I'm good with this because it all kind of falls into the same vein. But you're answering the question. Reddit tends to sort of be very myopic. They get tunnel vision on I'm right this way, but it is context dependent, right? Like
completely.
If you're a solo founder, you're bootstrapping. Let's say you took on $1 million VC check, like all that's going to change on where you need to spend your time.
Yeah, that's not revenue or die, right? That's figure out customer acquisition at scale or die, because eventually we have to overcome the burn rate that we just adopted and make a lot more money so we can go raise more funds so we can make a lot more money so we can go public or get acquired, right? Because those are the only ways we win at this point.
Yeah, even with the revenue thing. For example, you could go and you could attend that sales meeting and close, let's say, $5,000 worth of business.
Yep.
Or you could go work on that system that will allow you to automate and close $50,000 worth of business for the same amount of effort. That's what we're talking about.
Yep. So yeah, it's not as simple as revenue or die. Like if you are in a position where you that what did you say, 10,000 or 5,000 revenue?
Yeah.
If you're in a position where $5,000 is what separates you from life or death, then do that first. Pick your solutions based on your problems. You might say, but Ryan, if I could do that and I could get $50,000, yeah, but the likelihood of that happening, the amount of time it might take to do that, if you die before you get the system built, and if you're not entirely sure the system's going to do that for you, right? So it depends on so many things. Like we talk about this a lot, but it's not just the size of the outcome we have to optimize for; it's the probability.
Yes.
Right. So if going and getting $5,000 is a 50% probability, that means we can count on about $2,500. If going out and getting $50,000 is a 2% probability, that means we're only going to get $1,000 or 100. Yeah, math. So I forget the numbers I'm using. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The math doesn't matter here.
Sure.
Point being, you want to make sure that you are tackling the thing that is most likely to solve the most pressing problem right now. So you got to have a good understanding of all of that before you can do any of this stuff.